My name is Nelson, and I'm the host for CEO Confession. If you're wondering what is CEO Confession, CEO Confession is a place for the first time where we will be shining lights on behind the scene and behind the camera and behind all the fames of light of what makes a CEO the CEO. Some of you might be used to all the big news in the newsletters, on LinkedIn, all the big announcements, all the success and all the failures, but sometimes you miss 99% of the whole journey, all the unspoken part of the journey of being a CEO. Today, we will be shedding more light on it by speaking to different CEOs of small organizations, of scaling organizations, of large organizations, to actually give us insight into the unspoken part so that you can learn from their experiences and from their knowledge and also from their way of thinking, so that maybe you also don't feel alone in your journey, because being an entrepreneur can be a lonely journey sometimes. But sometimes these situations is not unique to you. We just need to maybe learn from each other to also gain different vast experience and knowledge from each other. And I'm happy to have an amazing CEO here present today to share insight into his journey. Welcome with me, David from Bloom PFM. Hello, David. Welcome to CEO Confession.
Thank you.
And I think as we've introduced, CEO Confession is I'll put it, it is a beautiful platform where for the first time now we can now have the unspoken side and review of the CEO. Because I do believe that a lot of the information out there about all the serious part of achievement, of all this every serious official part of a CEO.
Mm-hmm.
But then a huge part of being a CEO that you and I both know is not being revealed, which is the human side. The side where when all the cameras are off, and
it has to do with you alone.
Exactly. That comes back, the part where we go to behind the camera. And I think this part is really, really very important. For one, it's important for the new generations that are also planning to become CEOs like you and I, or that are looking to venture into entrepreneurship, that at some point, they can also see that, okay, this is not one big mystery. Because sometimes when they see those information, of the achievement, they only see the finished product. They don't see all the doubts, all the confusion, all the joke behind the scenes, and the trials and error behind the scene. And this is actually the reality of becoming an entrepreneur or becoming a CEO, of growing and scaling different kind of venture at a different level of organization. And I think if we really want to build the future of tomorrow, we need to actually open their eyes to this unspoken side, this raw side of being a CEO. So I'm really happy to have you here, David, today.
It's nice to have you too. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, that's great.
I think it's a very good discussion that you've actually picked up.
Yeah.
I think most people don't talk about it as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's something we need to look at.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Definitely. I think CEO Confession is going to be an amazing, a new way to actually really grow future leaders and to actually give them the unbiased, the pure, transparent side, the authentic side of actually that pathway, and actually what it feels like, what it really is like, so that we can also see that it's not an impossible notion, but it's something that is actually that we're all human, and this, and it's okay to actually make mistakes, and the like. So I think if you're ready to get started, then I can pump you over.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
How do you feel?
I've been ready since yesterday.
Okay. That's good. So my first question is going to be, are you ready?
Right.
It's a good one. So what do you wish that more people understood about what it's like to be a CEO like you?
Okay. I think the major thing people need to understand is vision. So if you understand your vision, it's way better. It's better for you to translate it to a mission, and to now bring it down to different steps along the way that will get you to your final destination. But in today's world, people don't understand the power of vision. They just want to, they just dabble into things and they just keep going and keep going and keep going. But when you have a destination, you probably could know how you want to get to the destination. So most people, they've not attained their full potential because there's no, vision at the end of the story. They just, so wherever they stop, they feel that's the end. So I think vision is a very great thing. It's helped me a lot. And it's also been, it's also been a kind of limitation for me before, where you just have, you don't have a broad vision. You just so I think vision is a
So maybe if you want to dive in, what was your vision actually? Because what I'm looking for is that personal touch, away from what you would say, in front of the camera.
So for me, I get where you're going. For me, it's mostly it's impact, and I want to impact as much as many people I come across. Impact is what drives me, so that's my vision.
Why does impact drive you? What are you going to get at the end of this impact?
Okay, so I'm going to deviate a bit. Like apart from being a CEO, I also run a foundation, which is is an NGO. So I've been to so many places. I've seen people who needs to be impacted. So if I relate it to myself, I probably remember when I was growing up. My grandmother would always tell me that, okay, finish your food, because there's so many people that don't have food to eat.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So growing up, I'm like, the fact that I'm not finishing this food doesn't mean that this food will get to those people there. So she understands that I shouldn't waste the food, but she doesn't understand what will take the food there. She doesn't know what to do. So I knew from growing that, okay, so that means there's a whole lot of work to be done. So this food, how will this food get to that place? Yeah. That's my own impact. That's my own vision. You have so many youth right now, children that without purpose. So the name of the foundation I run is Brilliance and Purpose Foundation. Yeah. So I see so many people wandering without purpose. So I feel it's one of my duty to ensure that I shape their purpose and make sure that they have a direction. Yeah. So which is what I've been driving for a while now. Yeah.
But I'm still coming back to the same question.
Okay, go ahead.
Like, because what I'm looking for is it's more about you and what drives you as a person. Okay. And you mentioned that impact drives you, and that's beautiful. Yeah. But what I'm looking for is to actually help to get to that core of the impact, so people can also understand where the definition of impact is. Because impact, we always say this. Let's say, for example, myself, I'm also heavily driven by impact. Okay. Right? And for me, one of the biggest impact drive for me is when, let's say, when I touch down in Lagos airport, right? And then I see that, things are super, totally different from, let's say, from where I'm coming from. And then where I see that things are so organized, and there's enough infrastructure, and then I get here, and then I see so much youth, and I see how educated they were, how entrepreneurial they are, how much strength, energy, and inspirations and smartness. And then I see that, wow, there's no opportunity to match that, or the infrastructure or the environment does not match the possibility of that potential. That makes me want to be like.
I think it's a very good thing as a youth to have a mentor, or to be, because they actually influence you and they kind of widen your vision as well. So I'm still going to come back to vision. So I learned to set goals very early in life. Yeah. Yes, sir. So I at 18, I had my goals. I had what I wanted to be at 20, 25, 10 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years. Wow. So I have a pad that I've been using since I was 20 years old. Wow. I have a pad, it's still with me. So I wake up to watch this every morning, to see this every morning. And I say, okay, you've attained this. You are not yet here. This is the next step. So I have anytime I wake up and I open that, I know that I'm on the run. So that drives me a lot. Wow. So goals, I've set some goals that are even beyond my own capacity that I don't think I can attain. Yeah. So when I open it, I say, you can't sleep right now. You still need to move. Yeah. Yeah. So that my goals drive me. Yeah.
Wow.
I'll take it out.
That's really impressive. I can just imagine you as an 18-year-old boy setting goals. Like how can this even come to an 18-year-old boy
So that
mind. Like, how did you get there?
so it was a boss I had, you know. So I stumbled on his you know, his he had something like that too.
Ah,
You know, so
wait, are you Igbo?
no.
You're
I'm
not
Yoruba,
Igbo. Yeah, because I know that this is is it apprenticeship that the
apprenticeship,
Igbo tribe practice,
You get
and
it.
that's a beautiful example of mentorship. Because
I agree.
I've heard that like the whole actually when they're practicing this, actually the economical factors or the economical level of these places in Nigeria have really improved a lot because of the mentorship structure that is there.
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to mimic as well, or is that what you
Close
have
to
in
that.
mind?
Close to that.
Okay.
But in this case, it was it was a boss, and I stumbled on his. He had something like that. I stumbled on it, and I saw that he was leaving the path. So he don't know that. Oh, so you could write this and you could achieve it. It was at that time he was 40, and he was saying he was the top guy in the banking industry.
Are you able to mention his name?
I won't. Right now.
So this mysterious person that really inspired. So this
Yeah.
person actually inspired you,
Yeah,
and you
at
felt
that
inspired
age.
with this person,
Yeah.
and then you felt like this person actually does contribute significantly towards where you are now,
to setting my goals and you know, sticking with it.
and that helped you to become who you are today.
Yeah.
So and that's why you want to also give back to other people
So also
the same benefit of
and
mentorship.
to know the advantages of you know, the benefit of setting goals and you know, keeping up with it.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. You see, this is something that, you know, will not be spoken about as to that core of what motivates you. And I think this is beautiful to
Yeah.
actually understand that
Perfect.
because you were motivated by somebody
else, yeah.
before that actually showed you the way, and you felt like that.
Indirect. And he didn't know he did. He didn't know he did.
Yeah. Wow.
He didn't know he did.
Wow.
I just put on that book and I'm like, seriously.
Wow.
So people who do this,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. And you felt like this is a tool that could be useful for the youth as well to
Yeah.
also gain access to those mentorship. Wow, that's beautiful. Thanks a lot, David,
You're welcome.
for sharing that information. I think you've probably spoken a bit about this. Maybe now we can focus specifically on it. That was your personal philosophy or mantra, you know, that keeps you grounded through all the decisions that you make, or maybe most of your decisions. What was that, you know, philosophy that you always take your
Okay, I think it's a simple one. It's progress over perfection. You know, progress over perfection. You know, but I used to say it's a simple, incremental, what's it called, steps or so. So you just keep doing it, and then a little bit. There's an adage that says, "Little bit of water makes an ocean," right?
Yeah.
So you know, the little things that you do, you know, they become progressive, and they add up to the larger goal you set.
Yeah.
You get so it's not about perfection. It's not about you must be perfect right now because apparently nobody's perfect, you know. But if you set up goals and you break them down, so that progress over perfection. So every day I get there, I say, okay, what have I done today? So in the morning when I wake up and I see that book I said I have, so I'm saying that what did I do yesterday that I've made progress to each of these you know, goals here.
and visions that you
You know,
have.
so
Yeah.
okay, I've done something.
Yeah.
And so what am I going to do today to ensure that I add up to this progress?
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not striving to be perfect right now.
Yeah.
But I'm just ensuring that in everything I do every day, there's a bit of progress.
Yeah.
You know, I can say, okay, now just like I was in primary 1, now I'm in primary 2. Okay, you get so. Definitely, education does not end. You need to keep going.
Yeah.
Or at least before you were in primary, now you're in college. Then you are going to you know, so there's incremental steps all the way. That's it for me.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Thank you.
And so you feel like your leadership is more like you feel like your leadership is more like an agile leadership then. Like you try and then, because you're not looking for perfection, because
not
things
looking for
probably
perfection,
change.
yeah.
And could this be because of your background, or because things are not, could this be influenced by, let's say, by culture or background, that you don't seek for perfection, but then you seek for progress because you feel like maybe things are constantly changing or shifting?
Okay.
Or how do you feel? What do you
I like to be
thoughts?
flexible every time because nothing is cast in stone. So you know, every time along the way, I try to be flexible, look what I can do better. Because even at the best perfection, whatever you are, there's still room for improvement. So if you understand that, you know that you need to keep going.
Yeah.
So I understand that it's not a culture thing.
Yeah.
It's not it's not an environmental thing, a culture thing. But
Yeah.
I just think I know that you have to be flexible to get to wherever you want to go, because you don't have to be rigid.
Yeah.
So when you're rigid, most times I think you are limited.
Yeah.
So I think flexibility is a good word for me there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can share with you that I do think for myself that culture, or at least the Nigerian culture, does also influence my leadership.
Oh.
I will tell you how. Because I've noticed, like in Nigeria, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Literally, like you are prepared for the unexpected. So
uncertainty is everywhere.
Uncertainty everywhere, and it's so interesting how that has become a very, very huge and big asset in the new world where we are now.
Okay.
Especially in the face of technology, things are constantly changing. What could be relevant today might be irrelevant tomorrow.
With a lot of entrance.
With a lot of exactly. Yeah. So we moved from an economy where everything was just so like, okay, the way it is.
Way it goes.
Now also to a much more digitalized economy. Now I do predict that we're moving to an AGI economy, whereby the speed of innovation will even be a lot more quicker. I mean, it might not be with the speed of light, but it's going to be a lot much more quicker than we see as it is today. So that actually does means that we actually need a kind of new kind of leadership that can also quickly adapt and also quickly lead the solution through all those different transformation processes as well. And I actually see that the culture of Nigeria is actually really helping me to be very well positioned in that way for the change. But of course, I've also seen some of the downside as well, because too much change and prompt change, or too much, it can also lead to an unstable organization sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's also why I have different kind of leadership people, like people who specialize and let's say have this mentality of stability and notions of focus and the likes, and also together with this notion that we actually have learned from the culture or that I have learned from the culture of Nigeria, which is to be prepared for the unexpected and actually make perfection in the midst of unexpected, has actually really helped me a lot to be able to face all this fast changing demand in the tech sector. So I'm curious, how is that for you?
Okay, so innovation, it's a key word for me as well. In this country, if you get someone's complimentary card, well, everybody is almost a general merchant. Sells wig, is an IT person, he cooks, is a caterer, because I just want to get the money.
Yeah.
I just want to get the money. Yeah. So you mentioned stability. I think it's a VUCA world. It's volatile, uncertainty, and so you can't really be certain with what you want to do.
Yeah.
So I attended a course some time ago about incident, emergency preparedness, incident management, business continuity, because you can't really say that this is what is going to happen in 2 hours, in 3 hours. Yes, you can forecast, you can plan, but Nigeria will always happen. Yeah. Either the policies, reforms, whatever comes up at any time. Yeah. And you just have to blend to what is on ground. So innovation is key, like you said. In this environment, you must be innovative. Yeah. If you are not, the business is going to die. Yeah. So we both agree that the uncertainty, actually, which is experienced in this culture, is actually a tool, or is actually a strength in the new phase of innovation, where we have to adapt to all the changes, because they now also may make the uncertainty of what to expect as well. Correct. And since we've mastered to be able to triumph in the midst of uncertainty, this actually makes it. We are actually in the comfort zone. You can build on it. It's a platform you can build on. Exactly. Yeah. And that's why you also see huge innovations coming up, and also that the latest innovation as well, we're already jumping at it. And for us, these are very normal things. Oh. And whereas for some other cultures that are used to, stability and life, for them they find it like, whoa, this is so, and they don't understand how, let's say, people from
this kind of culture could actually just be able to easily implement and also master this. And I think it might also come as a shock or surprise, maybe in the nearest future as well. Let's say some of the application of the use of some of the latest technology that we're going to be seeing also in some markets that are becoming. So that's quite interesting. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So maybe a much more lighter question now, which is really about, what's your go-to routine, or habit to start your day in the morning?
Okay, so I think the first thing I do is reflection. When I wake up, so I have an alarm. My alarm wakes by 5 a.m. I'm up. So, but I don't get up my bed till like 30 minutes. Try to reflect. Have some music that I probably listen to. Not a bit of just reflection. And after that, I hit the gym straight. I hit the gym. I have my treadmill in my house. I hit the gym. Lift weights, and then come back to do a bit of yoga and reflection again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
And does that help you to? Why do you need that?
I need to shape in my mind and get ready for the day. So it makes me. We all know the benefit of exercise anyway. So when after that, I'm ready for anything that comes my way. That day, I'm actually ready. I'm actually ready. So I meditate, I reflect, I meditate, I hit the gym, then I do meditation again to end it up. Then I'm set for the day. Water. I ensure that I take much of water before I start my day.
Wow. So when you go to the gym, are you like lifting a weight or punching something and be like, fuck this person and fuck that person?
I punch, I lift. Also, I'm a sport person as well.
Okay.
So I have to maintain that every morning to ensure that when I appear on the end of my phone, I play golf.
Yeah. Also for your mind, is it?
So I need to keep in shape. I play soccer, I play golf, I play long tennis. Those are the major ones I play right now. So I always want to keep in shape. So when I get to my peers, I can always win my games. So it's very important for me to keep.
I must give it to you that you seem very peaceful today. Because I hear all this yoga and all this mindfulness and all this, it sounds.
It's the way to go.
Maybe I could learn from that. Because I feel like for me, I do workouts, but then I'm working out to let out a lot of stress. I'm like, fuck this.
No.
And then of course after doing like some punching, like some boxing.
Well, you sprint a lot. Do you sprint?
Yeah, I think for sprint, maybe I do more like squash.
Okay.
So with squash, because then your head, like in my head for like 1 hour straight up, then I don't think about anything.
Okay.
So, personally, I have ADHD. So when I'm not doing something, then my brain is going here and there and trying to, solve and come up with different situations. So it's like super busy. And then there's also all these constant things. There's always something positive. There's also something negative and something going on here, something going on there.
Before the end of your workout, like you already have a lot of things you want to do for the day.
Yeah.
After every workout, you need to get a pen. When you get a pen, you say that you already know what you want to do for the day. Yeah.
One thing I actually really find very interesting about workout lately is I've actually realized that when I go to the gym in the morning, if especially during working hour, like let's say from 8 or 9 o'clock until like 11 o'clock, I get the best inspiration. Because also when I even let's say sometimes maybe join meetings or join calls, just walking out and it's also almost like a therapy to be able to look at things from a far point of view, and then you get this unspoken insight that you normally wouldn't get from your desk.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And I think that is maybe underrated sometimes. It could be really, really of great and huge value in comparison to actually when you're in the office and then you have all of, you're really immersed in the midst of all of those things, but then that can actually give you that step back point of reflection to be able to reflect from a much more broader view.
Your point. And, so distractions also, it's a problem. So when I said I had to put a treadmill in my house, so the morning part of my exercise is in the house.
Yeah.
Okay, so I discovered that when you go to the gym, most times the distractions are too much.
Yeah.
Is it the ladies or the things we're talking about, the unspoken, what's it called, CEOs?
Yeah.
Nobody will tell you that. But when you come, you want to go there, you want to have a very plain mind and you really want to achieve some things, but distractions everywhere.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, what is this? I need to do this in the house. Well, maybe a weekend, maybe I think, okay, let me just go hang out with people in the gym, then I can now go to the gym. But in the morning, it's in my house. I'm not going there because you'll be distracted from stuff. If you want to spend 20 minutes, you're already distracted. You just have about 40 minutes.
Is it people from the gym?
From the gym. From you, they always
want to talk to you.
They want to talk. So, I didn't come here to talk. I came to exercise.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I think we're moving more towards the end.
Okay.
So now we're going to get more towards the juicy part.
Okay.
So like looking back, what do you wish you knew before you became a CEO that you think could have made your journey a lot much more easier today?
Growing up, maybe you belong to a particular denomination or church where you feel that money is the root of all evil. You've heard some things like that before. So you're limited in that space and you're like, no, I don't want to cross this space. Oh, this is evil. This is not, But if with this generation now, they want to get everything. Even at 18, they want to get everything they want to get. So I think that's a limitation. I wouldn't have limited myself to some achievement. I would have, aimed higher than what I am today. Yeah.
Because you feel like the vision is like a fuel to actually get you to wake up. It's also like the momentum that actually drives you towards that goal and where you are now.
Perfect.
And would you say that all your vision that you set when you were young, you've achieved them now? I mean, the smaller ones, before you start to widen them.
Altogether, I'll say I've done 40%.
Wow.
40%.
Wow. And how old are you now?
40.
40?
Yeah, 41.
So you still have more years to go.
You get, so there's still a long way to go. Though. So every year, I set another one. I look at what I've achieved. So I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so every year I look at what have I achieved, and I set more goals to ensure that I get to the next level.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
So I think we've heard it that vision is really crucial.
Very important. Very important.
I totally agree with you that vision is so important because I can count many nights or morning that's I just feel like, Nelson, why are you doing this again?
when you get back to your why.
I know. Then because it's never easy, and the vision is what would be like. Okay, just try again. Just one more stretch. Just one more stretch. Just one more stretch.
Consistency.
And, because without the vision, I think you're right. I think without a vision, I don't think I will be here. Actually.
There has to be a vision, because that's what's going to drive you, right? Yeah,
but vision is also not something that you just come up with as well. It's also something that I don't know. How do you even? Because for me, my vision the vision is the for me it's like a thirst for solution. For me, it's something that I really cannot get out of my mind. Why we have so much talent? Why we have so much wisdom and expertise, and we have people dying of hunger, people in extreme poverty, while we have so much possibility, means, and resource. I'm talking about in terms of, I'm not even talking about mineral resources. Okay. No, human resources. I think people, just humanity, like all this bunch of huge population, the youthfulness, and while we are still here, and for me, it really baffles me. And then today I see the implication that it has on people that look like me, people that are like me, that I also know that, but this is not really rocket science, but it's just that people just don't know. And I wonder why.
It's greed.
Yeah, I know, but that, for me, vision, this is what the definition of vision is to me, right? Now to look for ways to bridge that gap and connect opportunities to where opportunities was not before.
Okay.
And how that would happen or what that would look like, then are just maybe other kind of, then those are like maybe the plans of the mission as to, the vision is to be in a place whereby that problem is gone. It's no longer there, so that the strength of the population now also reflects in the quality of life, of being of the people in Africa as a whole. But how does, from your point of view, how do a normal person or someone that is just starting, or maybe or someone that has been a CEO for quite a long time, but still doesn't maybe understand your vision? How can they get that core of maybe understanding? How did you find your vision? How could they also learn to maybe also recognize what their vision should be and what their, or maybe is it a calling, or is it something that you really sit down, think about, and try to pull out?
Okay, so I would say that your senses are quite important here right now, because there's a sense of sight, hearing, tasting, and whichever it is. So I feel that whatever you feed yourself with through all those senses shapes you, and they motivate you as well, and they could as well add to your vision. So if you probably see movies that are war movies every day, you end up probably, I want to be a militant, or I want to be a terrorist. And you get what I'm saying? So yeah. I learned that early enough in life. So I guide my senses, like what I hear, what I see, and whatever could influence me. The kind of people I try to stay with.
The places where you live as well, the community.
Yeah, the community.
Yeah.
You in Nigeria, you probably don't have power over that. Probably because when you're growing up, you have to live with your parents.
Yeah.
So if you're living in the slum, you have to be in the slum. But you can live in the slum and you have a deep insight of something else. So probably the kind of books you read, the kind of the movies you watch, the people you talk to.
But I think it's also the same. I think if you also, let's say if you're living in the Netherlands or in the UK, if your parents also lives in the slum, then you also have, I mean, you can maybe, I think there's some agencies, but where you can, let's say, if you're being abused at home, and then you can get like, but also those environments are also not the most.
They're not the most.
They're not the most encouraging either. So I think.
I agree with you.
So that means all kids are doomed then, or is that what you're saying?
Not really. No, not really. Not really. But environment plays a major role, right?
Yeah.
But I'm saying that at the early stage of your life, you can't really say this is where I want to stay. Because somebody has to decide that for you. Either your parents or the society or the government has to decide where you stay. At that time, until you are yourself and you say, okay, I can now pay my rent, or I'm going to this institution. This is you start making even your first maybe your college or something. Your parents still have to decide where you go. So most times you can't, you don't have a voice in all of these until you now start making decisions yourself. So, but one thing, the beauty of it is that you can always correct the wrongs that people have made on your behalf. When you start making your own decisions, which is a key thing for me too. So.
And where, let's say, if you take a look at Nigeria, where would you advise all aspiring CEOs to be? Where do you think is the influence, or because you spoke, and also what kind of people should they also surround them? If you want to give them maybe actionable advice in that line, what advice would you give to them?
Okay, so this goes beyond the CEOs. Well, it goes to everybody. I mentioned impact. And, for me, impact for me, it goes beyond showcasing what you do for people. I believe that if each one of us here try to do something, affect our immediate environment, I think the world will be a better place. So I'm not waiting for the government to come and sweep this road in front of this place, right? I know that's my own duty. So if I do mine, you do yours, and she does hers, then I think the world will be a better place. But we leave all these things and we're waiting for somebody to come and do it. I think that's one of the major problems we have. So I feel the CEOs they should also do more impact. They should do more. I'm actually studying a course right now on sustainability development, and I see how the United Nations are trying to make companies, get into the flow of the CSER, that's the community services, and it has to do with the environment. So I think each company, each CEO should also ensure that they have a passion for
to give back to society, communities
and
around
make impact. So it would actually make the world a better place. Because where I can't reach, you may be able to reach there. Where you can't reach, I may be able to reach there. So I think that's a good one.
If I get you right, were you implying that also people don't need to move away from their communities, that they can also create those impact by also contributing towards that society that would be a nurturing society to other people.
You may move.
Is that what you're implying?
No, you may move, but you should know where you're coming from. And the more we've seen so much celebrities, we've seen so much footballers, they come back home to say, okay, I'm building this stadium where I grew up. And we've seen so many of those, by the time, like I said, by the time you start taking your own decisions, you may decide to leave a particular community or an environment, okay? But you need to know what you left there and know that they're actually waiting for you there to come and make some impact. So we shouldn't turn blind eyes to those things. As much as we move, we should also go back there to make impact.
So your call to all the CEOs now is to also think about where they came from, and also that if they can also implement the strategy that could have been favorable to them in the past to actually be there, so that can also help the new generations to also enjoy
grow
those assets
that they are bringing to the table.
And then where it wasn't a conducive environment before to our favor, then now will be a conducive. I think that's a brilliant, beautiful point of view. Thanks a lot for sharing that.
Thank you.
And maybe just the last question, if you had to, I think you've spoken a bit about this, but maybe just to more focus on this, what would be one simple, advice that you would give to someone that's aspiring to be in your position?
Okay. Set a vision, set a goal. One. Number two,
set a vision.
I said consistency. You have to be consistent. You probably won't see results immediately. So you have to be consistent in whatever action plans you set to achieve that goal. You have to be consistent. Don't say because the money is not coming in today, it's not going to come in. It's still going to come in. But you have to be consistent with all actions that you have, and then you have to adhere to comply with your actions that you want to do. So set a vision, be consistent. Like I said, progress over perfection. You won't get there one day, but just make sure that today I've made this bold step and I'm not where I was yesterday. I'm a bit closer to where I'm going. So if you've got those, set your goals, be consistent with whatever actions you want to do, and also ensure that you embrace progress than perfection.
No, I really like this advice. It's really beautiful, especially also the advice of the progress, I think the continuous progress, and keep being at it. And also, that you should not expect the immediate results. And I think that's actually one of the beauty of this CEO Confession podcast. Because I feel like sometimes people only see the finished products.
They don't know what you put into it.
Exactly. They only see the finished product. They only see the glamorous movement and the announcement, and when the work is done, they only read the news and what has happened.
The magazine.
Or when things have gone south. Or let's say when when something has gone south, that's the only time that they see. And they just assume that, and then because when you see those stuff, then you feel like it's impossible to get it. Because it's impossible to get it in one day. Those things were never built in one day. There's a lot of sweat, a lot of doubt,
that went into it.
A lot of confusion. So even it was never a clear thought from the beginning. And some
of family neglect, time you need to spend with your family,
sacrifice,
trying to
exactly. This is what CEO Confession is all about. To now bring transparency to some of these unspoken truths, the whole journey, so that whenever you start your own journey, then you don't, then you can be persistent. Then you don't give up if you don't see results in one day, because there's no way. I think both of us can attest to this, that result doesn't come in one day.
Not
it comes from day and night.
Being consistent in whatever you are doing,
exactly.
Right?
And then that persistency to keep at it, but then the only way you can actually keep at it is when you have this vision. If you don't have the vision, then at some point I can count so many nights and morning when I'm like,
do I still need to continue?
This is too tough.
Because if you look at the money you're putting in, if I go to Bahamas and just go have a vacation.
I know, you could have bought a fucking club with this kind of money that's being spent. You could have done.
But when you wake up and you see the people that depend on you, and you can see them, also you can see that you are making impact in them as well. That's another motivation for me. When I see people I work with, and I knew how they joined, how they got. By the way, when they got to me, and I see who they are now, it's another motivation for me.
Indeed.
So I'm like, then we're all going somewhere.
And this is a brilliant section. Thanks a lot, David, for sharing. I know that it's not always easy to, to share these personal experiences and also to help people to also understand some of the unspoken step between where you start to where you are now.
Perfect.
And thanks also being part of this journey to be able to now shine light on those processes, so that if you're also looking to actually become that, or if you're already a CEO in that space as well, that you can also now, like what David has mentioned, you can also think about how to also implement that ecosystem and that's or that community or that notions of being that you didn't really get to enjoy in the first place from where you were. So you can also create this new ecosystem that will also help to foster people like you that also aspire to be like you. And then, of course, for those of you that are also aspiring to also be like David in the future, you can also think, and also maybe you can also see into some of the advice that it's never a one-step thing, it's a progressive thing. Yeah. And it's never going to be easy. There will be tough times, there will be tribulation, but you need to keep being persistent at it, like what David has also mentioned to us. And eventually, somehow, someday, you will be where David is.
Even beyond here.
Exactly. Even beyond.
Even beyond. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what we wish. That's what we wish them. We want them to get beyond where we are. Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
So
thanks a lot.
It's a very good initiative.
Yeah.
And I think it's something you need to keep up with.
Yeah.
Because so on the last note, I've seen, just when you pick up your phone most times and you're scrolling on social media, the only thing you see people post are, the beautiful moments of their life.
Exactly.
You see when they're wearing the expensive clothes, when they're going on vacation.
Yeah.
Like, but why are you not telling us about the
downtime?
The downtime.
Yeah, and people don't get to understand that this is part of the whole journey.
Yeah, so this is an initiative that will probably expose some of those, down. People know that after all, we're all human. Yeah. So you also go through this. I go through it. So then they can be motivated to also stay on course when they're also having issues as well.
Yeah,
so great initiatives. I appreciate it. Yeah.
It's good Thanks a lot, David, and it's good to have you here. And we look forward to connect again on this episode somewhere in the future. And we also wish you all the best with your company as well.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, David, for such lovely information that you've shared. And for those of you that are watching at home or in the office, I hope that this information have been a very good and useful information for you, because CEO Confession is that show that is meant to actually give you this insight or to the unspoken part of the journey of becoming a CEO. And I hope that you also realize now that your journey might not be unique, and that a bunch of people are also going through the same route that you're also going through to make this journey a lot easier for you. My name is Nelson. Please ensure that you share, likes, and also comment, because you might just not know who around you might also find this information useful. And if you're happy with what we're doing, let us know. And if you would like to also speak to a different CEO the next time, and you have a specific CEO that you want us to speak to, please comment in the comment the name of the CEO. And I'll be sure to reach out to that CEO to also have this confession shared with everyone to learn from. Thank you. My name is Nelson.